Welcome to Sober and Lit,
the podcast for women who want to get sober, stay sober, and live a life that's way more lit than it ever was with wine.
We're your hosts, Ruby and Susan, two alcohol freedom coaches keeping it real with stories, tools, and zero judgment.
Whether you're sober curious or all in, you're in the right place.
Let's feel lit, alcohol free.
Hello, and welcome back to the Sober and Lit podcast. Happy holidays, everyone. Happy December. We're right in the middle of it, the thick of it. Is everybody crazy yet? Oh my goodness. Yeah. So this is the time of year where things start to get maybe a little shaky on your alcohol-free journey. Maybe you're starting to be like, I don't think I can get through this month or these holidays without drinking, because drinking and alcohol is such a big part of many of our holiday traditions. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So we're kind of going back to our old framework of asking listeners questions. So here is a question for us to start with, and then I'll throw it out to Ruby to see what her take is on this. So if I take alcohol or out of my holiday, what new traditions can I create that bring me joy? Wow, what a question. I'm sure I thought that, like, no way. There is no way I'm going to get through December without drinking. But it was more not even about joy, but it was sometimes about managing all the stuff that I had to do. So, but what about that belief, Ruby, that it won't feel fun and festive without champagne, to your point of the Corbel ads where every event should have champagne?
Right. That was definitely my belief, that the holidays needed champagne or alcohol to be festive, to be fun. And I know that our family tradition was always to start with a bottle of champagne. You know, when everybody finally got there, we would have this like cheers moment, and it became, a tradition, a ritual that we did. And it was like to mark the holiday, to mark every holiday. It turns out it ended up being like that. But what I wanted to say is there's so many other ways that you can change your traditions. You know, your traditions can evolve. Your rituals, the things that you've always done, you can change them. And what I found in my truth, and you have to get through it the first time. Maybe this is your first alcohol-free Christmas, or this is the first time you're going to do it. You're maybe a little apprehensive, but I want you to know that it feels so much more fun, festive, just more like connected to myself, because I'm clear. I'm clear-headed. I'm present. You know, the best gift you can give yourself, or the best present, is to be present over the holidays. And it really is more fun. And I feel more safe, you know, like when I leave. There's just so many things about an alcohol-free holiday that I want to convey. It's so important to let you know that it is more fun and more festive without the alcohol. But what do you do, right? So an idea is you could still have that same ritual of popping the cork, but it could be an alcohol-free sparkling wine. You know, it could be the sparkling apple cider. You know, it could be a fun mocktail. If maybe your family, you all have like a cocktail before you start dinner or something, you could have a mocktail. And we're going to probably be posting our favorite mocktails again. We'll post lots of different mocktails this month because, hey, this is the month to celebrate with special drinks, right? You have to kind of take my word for it in that it is more fun and festive, and you actually connect more. But you really need to just give it a try. So this is where curiosity comes in. If you are so curious to find out, hey, I wonder if Coach Ruby's right. Like, could it be more fun? Could it be more relaxing? Could I be more present and connected? And you get to experience it. We call it a FFT, or friggin' first time. And you get to decide if you want to give this a try, see what happens. Because that curiosity I don't know what I call it, like a muscle. Like it's something that you can really engage and ask lots of questions. And we have a journal exercise. So you have to listen to the end of this episode because we have a lot to share all the way to the very end. We're just getting started here. Yeah. What do you think, Susan?
Well, curiosity, definitely. But what about a thought turnaround for somebody who just doesn't believe or that has that thought that it won't be fun if I'm not drinking? How would you work somebody through a thought turnaround or a latter thought around that? Would it be that curiosity like, I guess I'm willing to experiment and get curious about how fun could it be? Like I always like to challenge, like how much fun can I have not drinking? Like, let me just see, let me explore this. And it's cute. I have a client who doesn't say friggin' first time. She says fabulous first time. I wanted to share that. Because if that doesn't resonate with you, friggin' first time or the F word, fabulous first time, because, hey, you're trying this for the first time, just being curious and going into it with, this open mind and trying maybe one thing. If this is your first time going through a holiday or you're experimenting with your drinking, pick a few things. And this is something I did with one of my clients. We started working together in November, and to just leap into December with like this idea that she's not going to drink through the whole holiday was like way too much. Like that's by, trying to eat the whole elephant, right? So we're going to take it in little bites. And so it was like, okay, we have all of these events. Which ones are you going to experiment with not drinking? And then be able to have that experience. See, oh, when I don't drink, this event was like this, And then when I did drink, this event was like this. And really have that experiential knowledge of, is it really more fun? Or am I more present? Or what is it like when I'm not present? And really have that foil. And honestly, with this particular client, it helped us when we went to January to be able to be like, yeah, I can really see that I can have fun without drinking. And I do feel amazing when I wake up the next morning. And I know how I feel after I've been drinking. And I'm ready to jump off the train now. And I'm ready to start with dry January. Right. And then she just kept going. And now it's like over 2 years.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
So,
I just got an email from a client just today that says she's 4 years alcohol free. Wow. It's like amazing. We're starting to get 2, 3, 4, it's so cool. But you don't even have to do that. You can just compare this Christmas to last Christmas, right? So, I have those horror stories of Christmases where I thought it was going to be fun and festive, right? I would, like the year before I went alcohol free, it was a shit show, to be honest with you. I got so drunk just at the family party because I got nervous around family, and then I drank even more, and I ended up at the end of the evening crying. And just talking about all the things, poor me, all this negative thought cycles and worrying came in. I do not want to show up that way at family events where I sometimes only see these cousins or aunts and uncles. Occasionally I want to show up my best self, asking amazing questions, listening, being present, laughing. That's how I want to show up. And that's what happens. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, me too. I have that terrible story that I told my kids to F off on Christmas Eve. Like, who does that? If people think, they're terrible mothers, just listen to this story. And this is kind of where I wanted to maybe go with this episode is also what are all the things that we do during the holidays, all of the traditions, but do they add up to feeling like you need this relief and then you overdrink and then you explode on everybody because you've been doing all this work, you've been doing all the traditions, you've been doing everything, and then you lose it. Yeah, you lose it on everybody. Yeah. And how to approach the holidays in a different way, alcohol free, so you don't need that relief, and really taking a look at, your traditions and the things that, you do during this holiday season that do bring you joy, or don't they bring you joy? It's kind of like Marie Kondoing your holiday season, your December, right? No joy.
Does making cookies bring me joy? No. Does making, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Or is it like, oh, my mom always used to make 12 different kinds of cookies, so I need to do that and put them in Tupperware and give them to all my neighbors.
Right.
Except when I used to do that, I used to drink through the whole thing because I really hate doing that. Well, then don't make the cookies.
Right.
Don't
Go buy some.
Yeah, or don't do that
just
at
don't do
all.
it.
Go get bath bombs and throw them in a bag and put it out there for the mailman or mailwoman. You know, they might be like, "This is great. I'm sick of getting stupid cookies from all my every mailbox." You know,
Well, a lot of people are on diets too, and hey, maybe bath bombs or something. Not at
or just something different. Or if for me, I hated wrapping gifts. So then they'd pile up. I'd let them pile up. And then a few days before Christmas, I would be like, oh, I got to sit down. I'd put a movie on. I'd get a bottle of wine and sit there and drink and wrap all the presents because I hated wrapping the presents. So what could I do? I just go get a bunch of gift bags. I don't wrap them. I don't know. Or I try to do them along the way so I don't have a ginormous pile that I have to wrap. And honestly, at this stage too, in my family, which may be different than listeners, but with adult children, and none of us need any more stuff, honestly. So we're starting to talk about new traditions like, do we purchase experiences with each child that's really meaningful for them? And that is the gift. And then we do like little things, like maybe stockings or something like that. But it's really more about experiences because we actually just want to be together and connect rather than a bunch of gifts, right?
Yeah. I've started doing that too throughout the year with birthday, just more experiences. With my family, we are now doing, instead of buying gifts for everyone, we buy one gift that's generic, meaning anybody. And we do that white elephant where you pick it and then you steal it. And
I love that. Yeah.
But it's just one, and we pick a dollar amount, like it's a $150 gift instead of doing like 10 or 12 $20 gifts or whatever, right? Of stuff that people don't need. It's just one, and it could be homemade or it could be a gift card, but it's fun. Last year I did like spices, a whole like $50 worth of different spices from a really good spice shop. And that was the one that everybody was stealing.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, that's so fun when you have like one of those swapping, Yankee swap is what we call it here. And we see when your gift is the one that everybody likes and you're like, oh, I did good.
Well, the traditional white elephant is where you actually have something that you just find around your house.
Stupid,
kind of stupid or silly or dumb. And we do that too. That's also really fun when it's just kind of a joke gift.
Yeah. That is fun. Like, and just to laugh, because then the holiday is full of laughter. When we do the holiday at my parents', we usually play games. In fact, you know how like on your TV, you can have all these different photos go through. Just last night, one of the photos that was up is all of us playing a game. Like my husband must have taken this picture, and oh my gosh, just to see everybody's faces. It was just a beautiful example of somebody had rolled something. It was this dice game, I think, and everybody was going nuts in the picture. And it was just so much glee and excitement and fun on everybody's faces. I was just like, oh my gosh, I've got to find that picture and put it away somewhere because it's just such an example of how much fun a holiday tradition like playing games can be. And so like, one of the things that I thought is to kind of, like I said, Marie Kondo your holiday, is take an inventory of your current traditions and what do you love to do to make the holidays special, and what traditions feel more like obligations. And again, like you don't have to make all the cookies. And ask your kids, like you don't want to also get rid of a tradition that is meaningful to your family or your children, because traditions are something that bond you together as a family. And I know like my kids, I even asked them this year, like what is one of the traditions that they love about that we do at Christmas? And even if we're not together, I'm going to make sure I do this tradition, which is I have been giving my children pajamas for Christmas since, gosh, they were little.
That's a lot of pairs of pajamas.
I know. Mostly because it started with, this tradition started as very practical because I wanted the holiday pictures, not everybody to be in these ratty pajamas. And so I started giving them really cute pajamas for Christmas. And we always give that gift on Christmas Eve. So that's another tradition is we would all go to church, we would come home, we would have our meal. And then they always got the one gift on Christmas Eve, which was a throwback from a tradition from my family is we got to pick a gift to open on Christmas Eve. And then I don't know if why my parents have that tradition. And then we open the rest on Christmas morning. So, but then my twist on that family tradition was they don't get to pick, they get the pajamas. and one year I gave myself pajamas too, because my pajamas were looking pretty ratty. And I don't remember the ages of the kids. Luke was probably like 8, so Lauren was like 14. And I was like, ooh, I wonder what's in this package. And they just cracked up. They thought that was hilarious because obviously I bought them for myself and wrapped them. But it's just a silly, so you can see even how that tradition morphed from a tradition I had with my family into something that still, I think my kids will actually keep this tradition going because I think it is really meaningful for them. And we make it fun. Like one year I got Luke, my son, poop emoji pajamas, and just, sometimes they're fancy, sometimes they're funny.
I love that tradition. Such a good one.
That's a keeper.
Yeah, that's a keeper. Yeah. I had a tradition with my son always growing up for years since he was probably little, like in second grade on. But I guess as an adult, we haven't done it. But we would go and see the Nutcracker Ballet every year, and so I think I may reintroduce that and see if he wants to do that again because it was so fun. We did it for like 10 years in a row. Yeah.
Yeah. So like these are some traditions that are like pajamas have nothing to do with alcohol, right? Connection-based traditions, going to see a play together. If you live in the snowy weather, going sledding could be, we love to go sledding in the winter, but it doesn't always snow around Christmas here. Going for a hike if you don't live in nature, or I remember this was at Christmas, but when we weren't doing a big deal for Easter, I just asked all the kids to pick one food and one activity. And we all had to do the activity and I made the food that, everybody wanted. So why not? Why not? Why do we have to make, creamed corn or, creamed onions or whatever? So that's another thing as far as the food goes. Make food you like, if you don't have to have ham, if ham is what you've always had,
Yeah. My mom says, I hate turkey. So we don't do turkey at Christmas. She hates it. So I'm like, okay.
That's so funny. Well, yeah. And who says, and that's actually it's one of our tactics that we use in coaching. Who says when you're like, well, I have to do this, and this, and that's why I need to drink. It's like, well, who says that you have to do this, and this?
I had a client last year that we were getting ready for Thanksgiving and she had just moved and she had to do right? But who says? And then I said, okay, well, you're moving. And I just kept asking a lot of questions. What could you do? What could be different? How about let's let some things go? Or who says you have to do the full turkey dinner? And she ended up with the idea on her own that with my questioning, but like that she would use the crock pot and her whole family likes this one chicken dish. I can't remember what it was. And she was going to put it in the crock pot and done.
Beautiful.
And they were happy, right? Or you could make lasagna the night before. Like, so if you are so busy and you still are working or whatever, you can do things a little differently. Things can evolve. Yeah.
Yes. Another tradition we used to do was Mexican food on Christmas Eve, which sounds weird, but because we came from California and we always had really good Mexican food, and here we are in Connecticut. But our pastor at our church, they were originally from California too. And when they would do their Christmas party at their house, they would always have this Mexican food theme, but I could make enchiladas in advance.
Yes.
And so at that time, my husband and I were both on the worship team. So we'd be at church early doing the worship set and come home. And then we needed to eat. and I could have the enchiladas already ready and just pop them into the oven, and then we're eating. And so it was very practical, but it was also kind of meaningful because it was a throwback to our traditional roots of being originally from California. And I think the kids really like that tradition as well.
That's cool.
But also just this mindset of experimenting around new traditions, especially as the seasons change. So now we, number one, don't have young children. We're not on the worship team, and we don't even go to the same church. So we don't go and do the worship set, which was really meaningful to go and do the Christmas Eve service. Like I created and like wrote the Christmas Eve service at one point, and like we put it on, and it was super meaningful. Wow. And then we come home and have our Mexican food. Like, I love all these traditions. We don't do some of them anymore because my kids are grown now. And as they've gotten significant others, so they're grown and they're in college, they all come home. We would still go to a service and come home and have the Mexican food, So a lot of the same traditions. Now they have significant others, and sometimes they get them. The other family gets them. Boo-hoo!
Yeah.
And they're not coming home.
Yeah. A part of my story with my son, and maybe the listeners have this, is, I went through a divorce and I didn't get my son every Christmas. And I know a lot of you might be going through that, or if you have adult children, you're not, they go to their new spouses or their other families. But with divorce, it was very heartbreaking. In my divorce situation, my ex-husband would get Thanksgiving, and then I would get Christmas. And then the next year I would have Thanksgiving and he would get Christmas. And it was all those traditions. It had to be way more flexible. It had to be like, okay, what are we going to do? A lot of times we could have Christmas on a different day. I would just say, okay, my son's Cosmo. I would be say, hey, okay, Cosmo, we're going to do Christmas either the weekend before or the weekend after. But I know I would be very sad. And when my son, and it would give me license to drink even more, way more. Poor me, right? I just that was just like in my head. And I mean, as he got older and older, I got more used to it. But I wanted to honor and acknowledge, I miss my son. I would still call him on that day. And loneliness is what happens when we resist being alone, but actually you can flip it and call it solitude. And solitude is such a softer word, but you can like lean into that and actually maybe you're alone on this Christmas, but what can you do that you love? Start asking yourself, what do I love? What traditions could I do where I'm alone? Or maybe you have a friend's Christmas, like a Friendsgiving, but like a friend's Christmas for other people that are alone. Yeah. Or you tag along to another family member. New things can evolve and change, but I really want you to honor those feelings and try to come up with something that makes you feel special. Maybe it is seeing a play or a special meal that you could prepare, or whatever it is, or special music. Yeah. So my heart goes out to you because I've been there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, me too. Like last year, we were completely alone on Christmas Day. I mean, we were here to take care of Lance's mother, who has dementia. So she doesn't even know what day it is, but and so now we don't get together with Lance's side of the family, his brother, but we split it up. So either they take her for Thanksgiving or we do. So it's kind of like, who needs to be here in Connecticut to take care of her? And last year, good thing I had already been significantly alcohol free, or I definitely would have been like, well, I couldn't drink because of my stomach, but I couldn't eat anything, or we had nobody here for Christmas. It was like the worst Christmas I kept saying ever. Do you remember me saying that? And I wasn't even following my own advice that, like to reimagine celebration on our own terms. But I mean, we did. We sat around in our pajamas. We watched movies. I think we went to the movies, I think. And the JCC, which is the gym we go to, was open. And I'm like, well, let's go play pickleball. Let's go to the gym. Like, let's just, do what we normally would do.
All those things.
Yeah. But I get it. I get when we don't have any other family in the area. You could end up being completely alone on Christmas or Hanukkah or any other, or New Year's, and how does that make you feel? And sometimes you could feel really disappointed, but taking the time, like you said, to reimagine celebration. Like if you're really alone, look online and see what last minute cruises out of a local, port might be, or somewhere you could get to easily, or vacation yoga retreats, or,
Christmas Day hike. Yeah. I mean, even you could do it alone or find a buddy there's oftentimes other people that you aren't even aware of that might be alone as well. Or maybe on a meetup group or something, you can find other people that are also alone. I think a Christmas hike is such a great idea because you're out in nature. Depending on, I think you guys, I'm in California, but I think you guys can still go hiking in the snow, right? Or I don't know. Yeah.
It depends. We don't always get snow here at Christmas, although it's lovely when we do. I love a white Christmas, but you can go for a walk. Yeah. You put a hat on, put your scarf on and your coat. Yeah. But I know it sounds, though, I really want to honor the disappointment when we can't be with our kids. I want to honor the loneliness if your spouse died and this is your first year alone for Christmas or whatever holiday you celebrate. I want to honor those feelings. So I don't want to make light of just go for a hike or go, I get that. It's really hard. And again, it will also be hard if you drink too. The next day is going to be hard, or the next 3 days can be hard afterwards. Can you allow yourself to feel the sadness and also say, what else could I do today that could be special?
Yeah, I love that. I love that, Susan. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely am not trying to make light of this at all. It is hard. It does get easier, though, the more years, the second year, the third year, especially if you try this alcohol-free and try some different rituals, try some different things to make you feel comfortable and comforted. Maybe it could be journaling through some thoughts or looking at pictures. I don't know if memories would be beneficial at this time or not, but you could try that. There's lots of things to try. Yeah.
You could honor a deceased spouse by having their favorite dish and sharing it with someone. You can have virtual meetups with your kids if everybody can't be together, and doing, everybody opening their gifts virtually, which is what we do with my family in California. It's not the same, but we get to see their faces on Zoom and say hi. We do a Secret Santa, so everybody gets a name and you get somebody.
Oh, I love that too.
Something. And so we do it's called Elfster. We do that. Sometimes when we send people their gift, we put a little extra recipe of something that we made, from our traditions. If it's something you love to do, again, if you like making the peanut brittle, if you like making, my mom used to make this thing called divinity. We used to make caramels, which as kids, we were the ones that had to wrap them, there's all these just different traditions. And so one year my cousin made caramels and put them in everybody's packages. And they did bring back that oh my gosh, yeah, caramels. I would not be making them, but it was great that she did. Just kind of adding a little of your tradition into whatever gift you send. I don't think I'm going to have my kids with us on Christmas Eve or day, maybe my daughter, but I will still be giving pajamas. Yeah. And we probably are going to do the thing that you suggested, is we probably are going to do an event with my daughter in the city. That will be our Christmas. And my son right now may have a new job, and so he may not be able to take any time off around Christmas. And so we may do something with him in January.
See, you can totally do that. It's just one day. I want to stress that it is one day that, society or whatever religions, whatever has decided that this is the special day, but it really can be celebrated on a different day, or even in January, like you said. So you can when everybody could get together, you go, that's when we're going to celebrate, and call it Christmas or call it Thanksgiving or call it Easter or whatever, or your birthday, right? You just can celebrate it when you can. I have this really great, oh, go ahead.
Oh, so, and then you just play pickleball on Christmas Day.
Oh, yeah. Like, yeah.
Kidding. Oh,
So I have a journal exercise for our listeners that,
Okay.
So this is just an
Great.
idea. So if you want to get out your journal or come back and listen later when you can, if you're driving, but the question just is, what do you want to feel this holiday, or how do you want to feel this holiday? And maybe come up with 3 or 4 or 5 feeling words. I'll give you an example. Maybe you want to feel cozy and warm. Maybe you want to feel lighthearted and silly. Maybe you want to feel connection and connected to your friends and family. Maybe you want to be creative, feel creative, fun. So go ahead and write down those feeling words and then brainstorm a bunch of ideas that will help you to feel that way. And then I love your idea, Susan, that you had earlier of like, the Marie Kondo, does this bring you joy, or does this bring you the feeling? Like if you, or maybe, and then pare it down. Maybe you have way too many things, right? So what are the 2 or, under each of those feelings? So if you want to feel silly, just 2 things that make you laugh or something. And so that you can have a well-rounded, amazing holiday. That's what I wish for you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, we would love to hear from you if you do this exercise. What were your words? And then how did you change maybe and experiment with your holiday to adapt it to be able to feel those feelings? Yeah, what are the things that bring the feelings that you want to feel during your holiday? So this is the time in our episode when we talk about what's helping us feel lit. And so, Ruby, what do you do to feel lit over the holidays?
Yes.
The Feel Lit Holiday Edition.
So I know I've shared this before, but it's so important part of, I think, life that once I discovered this word, it's called hygge. And it's spelled Hygge, Hygge. And I actually used to say Hygge for years, but
That's what I say.
hygge, actually. And it's so hygge or hygge, it's a Danish or Norwegian word that captures the feeling of like cozy contentment or present moment joy. And to me, this hygge hygge, it's more than like lighting candles, or it's actually a way of living. And I try to get this way in the wintertime, when we're getting more, cozy, and we're just aware of the darkness more, especially in these countries. It's darker more in Scandinavia. And it doesn't have to be big events, big parties, fancy plans, but it's more about lighting yourself up from within. So it's like creating a cozy atmosphere. And it can start by, lighting a fire, lighting candles. And, as the sun sets, maybe having, instead of the harsh lights, you just have more of a glow. It could be, having your special place on the couch with a blanket, maybe your fuzzy socks or your special pajamas you could put on earlier. You could just, set the kettle on, have your favorite tea, maybe some softer music, or the rain. Today has been raining, so it's like a rainy, and it's just like, it's like giving yourself a big hug. I think of that when I think of hygge. It's like, very comforting. For example, like I might make vegetable soup, curl up on the couch with my dog Bagel, and rewatch an old show. The one I just watched last weekend was Eat, Pray, Love. Love it. It's just very sweet, it just kind of something to fill your cup, right? And it's also about mindful relaxation. Maybe it's a mug of peppermint tea around your hands, and you breathe in and out, as you inhale and exhale and smell it. Maybe it's putting down your phone, and journaling again to the candlelight, or just doing nothing on purpose, having that nothing time, instead of scrolling or always being on the go, just letting your nervous system calm. And you can also, hygge can be around creating joyful memories and moments and remembering them from your past. We talked about this before, but making your grandma's favorite holiday cookies. Again, not if you feel like you have to, but if that gives you joy, and maybe you even have Christmas music in the background. I mean, that's my happy place, making cookies or something and Christmas music and, just laughing with maybe my sister. Maybe I invite my sister over and we do this together. My mom makes this amazing stuffed mushroom recipe. I'll have to post it now that I said that. And one of my Christmas movies is Little Women, the 1994 version. I love Little Women. In fact, I'm going to watch it again, maybe before Christmas. So it's just little rituals to honor yourself. Maybe that it's darker now. It could be meditation. It could be stretching, relaxing, reading a well-loved book, putting on maybe a mask before sleep, or getting into the bed. I love to, after I do my ocean plunges on Sunday, I have a ritual where I take a bath with the Epsom salts, and I'll put on a face mask, and it just helps me get grounded and aligned. And so hygge, or it's spelled again hygge, is just a reminder to celebrate joy. And it's soft. It's a quiet celebration, or a quiet, to feel lit from within. Yeah. Oh,
that's beautiful. I think I'm going to still call it hygge. I just can't get into hygge.
Get the hygge.
I like saying getting hygge with it.
Yeah.
I
know. I probably will too, because I'll forget it's hygge. I'll just say hygge hygge.
Hygge. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Well, I like to laugh, so that's where being silly, but yes, that sounds beautiful. Beautiful. All those things sound wonderful. They do take some intentionality, getting the facial mask, getting the Epsom salts, but taking that time to do that and really treat yourself. Treat yourself this holiday season. We do so much for others, but make sure that you have a little treat and do something to help you feel lit. And again, ditch the stuff that nobody cares about, wants to do, that makes you crazy. Ask your kids what traditions they want to keep. You'd be surprised what their answer could be,
Yeah.
It's really interesting to ask. So,
and then listen next week. We're going to have more tips and tools around, when family's drinking or your spouse is drinking. So this is a holiday, lots of holiday episodes to get you, ready for your holiday.
Through the alcohol. Through the holidays, but through them feeling lit, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you again for being here. And if you can, rate and review, because it really makes a difference. Or share this episode with a friend, with a alcohol-free or sober curious friend, this episode or one of your favorites, because it really does help to get the word out. And we'd so appreciate that. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks so much for listening to the Sober and Lit podcast.
If you enjoyed this episode, we would love it if you would subscribe, rate, and review. It really helps get the word out.
And remember, do something today to help you feel lit.
See you next week.